Dr. Kim Anderson, our crop marketing specialist, is here now. Kim, let's take a look back at 2022 and some of the bigger developments that you observed during the year.
Well, for 2022 to talk about it, you've got to go back and look at 19 and 20 and 21 because we had COVID that really messed things up. And as we came into 22, we're recovering from COVID. Of course, then we got into February and Russia invades Ukraine, and that just blew things all to pieces. So we had prices had went from $4 to $8 when we came into 22. Russia invaded Ukraine, and then we got prices up to $13. Other things that were going on in 22 is higher interest rates, inflation, relatively high cost, and shortage of diesel as we got into the harvest. Also, then you throw on top of that the king of them all, weather, because we had a short wheat crop, about 60% of a crop. We had a short corn crop. We had a real short soybean crop, and cotton crop was decimated. Now, for the most part, especially for corn and wheat and soybeans, the price, like our wheat production was down 40%, but our price was up 35%. On corn, we had a big increase in price that offset that corn loss, and also in beans. Now, cotton took a big hit because we had a big loss of cotton production, and the cotton price actually went down from 120 early in the year down to into the 70s and came around to 80 as we got into the end of the year. A lot happened in 2022.
And there's no question the drought impacted so many things in the markets and all aspects of agriculture. As we're getting near the end of the year, what are you keeping an eye on at this period in time?
Well, if you look at the current situation, and you've got to know what the current situation is as you look out into the future, because you've got that base. And what we got right now is relatively high prices. We got soybean prices up above $14. We got wheat, they came back above $8. You got corn at $7. We got really good prices right now. We got dry conditions, but we got some rain over the last couple weeks. That's, we're getting optimistic now about our wheat crop, and maybe we can get some moisture in the ground to come in and plant our summer crops. I think that what we've got is a setting or a foundation for a really good year in 2023.
So as you kind of map out what we need to keep an eye on in 2023, what are some of the big takeaways? Now's the time to reflect and then also look ahead.
You've got to go back to Russia and Ukraine. Right now, Ukraine has, I think, got the advantage. They've been gaining back territory. Russia, the word out of there is that as soon as they get a hard freeze, as soon as they get that ground frozen, that they're going to attack again. They're going to go on the offensive, I think, and that war could get nasty. Right, this last week they blew out some areas in Odessa, the main export facility. So look out into 23. You got to look at the war. You got to look at the higher interest rates. You got to watch the weather. El Nino and El Nina. Which one of those are we going to end up with? But if we can get some rain, I think we're going to have slightly lower prices in 23, and it could be a relatively good year.
As we look toward January, some optimism in terms of input prices and supplies.
I think things are looking up relative to costs. Now, are costs going to go back to where they were a couple of years ago? I don't think so. If you look at diesel as a good example, we had a shortage of diesel the last few months, but it looks like they've got that situation taken care of. The herbicides, the pesticides, fertilizer prices have come down. They're not going to go down to where they were, but I think they are going to come down to a manageable level. And to think about it, any level they are, we're going to have to manage them. However, I got to come back and point out the market works. If those prices stay up, if input prices stay up, I think our output prices are going to stay up so that it's going to offer us some profit. I'm optimistic about 2023.
With all this in mind, what kind of guidance do you have for producers? And I understand you're adjusting your strategy a little bit.
Well, there's just a tremendous amount of risk, and it's easy to get overwhelmed with the uncertainty in the market. I think the strategy this year has got to be stay calm. The strategy is if you don't have something to sell or be in the market, ignore the market and just let it happen without you watching it. And when you're buying inputs, dollar cost average. When you're selling your product, dollar cost average. Because you look back over the last year or so, we had the biggest move in wheat prices was 96 cents up, and the biggest down move was 91 cents. You get big moves in all corn, soybeans, sorghum, wheat, cotton. Just relax. Dollar cost average, the market and the production and our management expertise will take care of the situation.
Okay, Kim, great conversation as always, and we look forward to many more in the new year ahead.